What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Average Bob, and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to talk about some quick changes and roster moves that the Giants have made in terms of bringing people back, releasing folks. I already did a video about Bobby Okereke, so we're not going to talk about him. And these are moves that had started late last week, and then eventually into Monday morning. So with that, let's get started. I wanted to do this over the weekend, but had a lot going on this weekend doing dad mode stuff and just ran out of time. So here you have it now to start your week. One of the first moves that the Giants made was re-signing running back Devin Singletary. Took a pay cut of $1.3 million per source. That is the minimum of a player with his experience. This is an additional $1 million in incentives, and he is set to make a base salary of $5 million for prior to the adjustment. And this is from ESPN insider Jordan Renan, who also stated he agreed to restructure the contract, just had to make $5 million versus $6 million versus the cap. And then wouldn't expect the Giants to swim deep in the running back market. It's going to be offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. So let's just talk about Devin Singletary quickly, because there's been so much smoke between Kenneth Walker and Jeremiah Love in the draft, and paying a high premium on Kenneth Walker. And I think this is a safe move to bring back Singletary, as he's been on the team for quite some time. I don't think he's good. I'm going to be honest with you there, but it's a safe move to bring him back because he's been in this locker room for quite some time. There is some leadership to that in that regard. And, who knows how Scatterbo is going to be looking coming back off that injury. So Singletary might play a little bit to start this season, and Tyrone Tracy Jr. as well. I'm a Tyrone Tracy Jr. stan. So I think it makes sense to bring Singletary back. And then you still have some other guys in the wing who I was going to say Eric Gray, but I think he was hurt all last year. And then the other guy being who did really well in camp. I'm blanking on his name now, but I don't even know if he got signed somewhere else. So maybe that person comes back and they give them a shot as well. But and this still doesn't mean that they might not part ways with him. It just makes it easier to do so, and just kind of guarantees, or it looks like the Giants probably aren't going to take a running back at 5 overall because of the premium price on that draft pick in equity, and then also paying Kenny Walker. And I just want to talk about Kenny Walker because I didn't do a full video about this, but signing Kenny Walker through free agency for like $15 million at least per season when he's coming off a Super Bowl MVP, it doesn't really make sense to me. It's like when all of these, and I'll equate it to European soccer, for example, when there's a World Cup and there's a young superstar who plays amazing in the World Cup, and then they get signed by Barcelona, Real Madrid, or one of the big powerhouse teams, and they never live up to that potential that they saw during those few games in the World Cup. You're paying a premium on recent performance. And I know Kenny Walker is still very young and stuff, but I don't just justify how you go for many years saying we're not paying Saquon, we're not going to pay Saquon, we're not re-signing him, we're also not going to trade him, to then just forking over a boatload of cash for a running back when you already have two on the team. It made no sense to me. That's all I have to say on the Kenny Walker situation and the running back stuff. And then next up on the list of cuts was swing offensive tackle James Hudson. This move was a no-brainer. It's a move that also, this is from Jordan Renan, so I'm quoting his tweet here, that it saves $5.4 million against the cap. Joe Shane and co have generally done a solid job on the pro personnel side with free agents. This was a bad miss and an easy first guess. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute here and explain why they did this and why I kind of blew up in their face. But let's just touch on James Hudson quickly. He had one of the most insane, unforgettable drives I could ever imagine an offensive lineman having. In that Cowboys game when Russell Wilson had like 400 passing yards, his performance was literally absurd. I think 3 personal fouls, a false start. It was crazy. And so it makes sense that he never saw the field again after that. Marcus Bowe looked a little bit better overall, and they just felt comfortable playing him in that swing tackle sort of role. I understand why they brought him in. He has a tenacious attitude. Clearly, he was, got a lot of penalties in that Cowboys game, which was the last we saw of him. And he was starting fights in OTAs, and I did a video about that. But they needed to have some sort of depth at tackle that wasn't Evan Neal, because they said they were moving him to guard. Andrew Thomas missed a couple, like really wasn't practicing, didn't play that much to start the season. So there was a fill gap here that they needed someone else with veteran experience to be in, because they couldn't trust Embo from day one. And they just needed someone else there. And Hudson filled that gap very quickly. And they had to pay whatever cost it was to do it, because there is such a scarcity of offensive linemen with any sort of ability to really play at this point, that it's like Giants would have to fork over what, like $12 million a season for Jermaine Illuminor. And I think he's solid, but you're just, any good offensive lineman that can play are going to be re-signed, because you can't afford to let them go. Which brings me to my next point coming up here is my boy Gunnar the Goat, per Adam Schefter, tweeted that Gunnar Olszewski reached a 1-year deal. And then Renan quoted saying, a quality returner should in the finale be productive as a receiver if given the opportunity. And I have to agree with him on that. If Wan'Dale Robinson seems like he's going to the Titans, or is definitely not coming back to the Giants at like $25 million a season, I don't understand why you wouldn't. And I don't think Gunnar Olszewski is great, but he does little things well. He had some rapport with Jackson Dart that was in the preseason. I spoke about it. And then also at the end of the season. So why I would rather see Gunnar Olszewski play than waste any sort of collateral there. And he can play special teams, so it makes sense. And then last but not least here is this morning, Chris Manhertz was brought back for a 1-year deal, the 12th NFL season for the tight end. So Theo Johnson will be back. I think Bellinger, they're not re-signing him, so he's going to walk, sadly, the Belly Bro Army. Manhertz, and then Fedone, who didn't really do much, and everyone did videos about how great this guy was going to be, and it was a steal and a diamond in the rough, but I don't think he really made it suited up in it, less than a handful of games. So the last thing that I'll say about this is that I could definitely see the Giants bringing in someone at tight end. Isaiah Likely from the Ravens has the familiarity with John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh loves him. And he's a free agent, so maybe they do it. I don't know. I don't really like playing tight end, and I don't even think Isaiah Likely's that good. But it is what it is. Manhertz coming back was very useful in the blocking game. And that's all I got for today is we get started for our fresh week of Giants news. And if you like this video, drop a like, comment. Would love to interact with some of you guys more. And have a great week, y'all.